It all started actually at a barbecue. So at a
Yeah.
braai, he invited loads of the rugby players around, and he had some of the boerewors, so the boerewors sausages he made
Yeah.
at the local butcher, and we tried it, and I just thought, wow, this is amazing,
Yeah.
this is incredible. And boerewors is such a, it's a staple product from South Africa, and because we are over here, you don't really get a lot of beef sausages. It's mostly pork, and especially with those type of herbs and spices, it's very unique. And like I said, it's like on a barbecue, it's very good, like on a stove, in the stove and stuff. But on a barbecue, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
And we had it, and my wife and Shamay said, "Listen, this is incredible. We should try and sell this." And we
Yeah.
just laughed it off and said, "Yeah, whatever." And then a couple of weeks after, a couple of the rugby guys and their families asked for it.
Put in orders.
Yeah, basically. And so the kids loved it, and because the kids were basically licking the plates clean, and
Yeah.
it's a really good product. And and obviously not being from here, we didn't know where to start. We never
Yeah.
started a business, and we had no network, and started fortunately with Ulster. They were really helpful, and Rugby Players Ireland, they do quite a lot of work with the guys outside of rugby, to try and introduce guys. And because as rugby players, I don't know if you know, that's one of the difficult thing is, as all possibly professional sportsmen, is what do you do after rugby and after sports? It's a very daunting thought of, one day I have to stop playing, and what the hell am I going to do?
Yeah.
And like with people like, and companies like Rugby Players Ireland, they try and guide people through that, and try and, number one, decide what you want to do, because I think that's the most difficult thing.
Yeah.
And we got introduced to Invest in I and all of those, and just started meeting people, and we met a branding company here in Belfast, and we sat down with them for half a day, and that we just explained with Skulk, my business partner, his wife and my wife and I, we just sat down and explained what we are as people and what we see the business is like. And they came, after a week, they came back with this concept of Hellbent, we're Hellbent on, number one, making Belfast our home. We really wanted to stay behind, and Hellbent would be the key for that and the opportunity. And we just want to share our culture. There's so many South Africans around in the UK and Ireland, and we just want to share that, but also we want to share it with the locals.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of companies around that try and share, that's got Salisbury voice, but it's very much for South Africans. But our biggest difference was we wanted to introduce it to everyone. We want to make it basically mainstream. That's our big goal. And so, but basically, whenever they came up with Hellbent, we just loved it. We just thought it's a really cool and a cool concept, so all credit to them. They did incredibly well with that. So that's where the name Hellbent and the whole journey started. And sorry, that's a long off the road where during COVID was quite interesting, because all the stores, just before COVID, we got our first contract with Henderson's.
Yep.
So that with Eurospa, and I think initially we were in about 28 stores, and back then Skulk moved back to South Africa. He had a few injuries, and his contract wasn't renewed. And you went back to South Africa, and I had a meeting with Henderson's, and they basically said, they want these three products, the boerewors, chakalaka burgers, and the meatballs. And after that meeting, I phoned Skalk and said, listen, I think you should come back. There's definitely opportunity here. And I was still playing, and he was playing for a contract but didn't have one. So he was the only one really to start with the business properly. And whenever COVID hit, Skalk didn't get a new contract, and then he decided to move his whole family back to Belfast. Yeah. And so took a huge risk on top of everything. And then during COVID, and then we launched into Henderson's, I think the February, and obviously March, everything got locked down and stuff. So I think initially it was very difficult, because we couldn't go out and we couldn't do any tastings and sampling in store. So that was a big part of the launch idea, is to go into store and do tastings.
Yeah.
But saying that, we did loads of markets. So obviously that was almost the only way that people could go out and buy produce. So in the Bangor Fresh Market in Bangor and in Newtonards and stuff. So we were there early on Saturdays and Wednesdays and stuff and let people taste. So we had the braai there and barbecuing and people were tasting and stuff. So that was quite cool. So we had that helped a lot for people to try it. And then, but in retail, during that time, they didn't want to see anyone. So it was really difficult to get new contracts or to get in front of buyers because they were just happy with what's on shelf. They didn't want to get infected. So they didn't, everybody just stayed away. So in terms of that, getting more business was impossible for a couple of years. It was really, really difficult.